Welcome to the sixth and final session of the 2024 edition of This is Film Heritage in Practice. My name is Kate Saccone, and I'm a PhD researcher at the University of Amsterdam. And together with Giovanna Fasadi, I'm an instructor for this year's This is Film course at the university, which was followed by 26 master's students who've been assisting in introducing our guests and posing questions throughout the series. Each year, This is Film has a theme, which aligns with the International Conference. And this year, the theme is presenting audiovisual collections, experiments, and explorations. And with more than 40 speakers from around the world, the conference will focus on a diverse array of experiments and explorations in audiovisual collection presentation that cut across different fields, technologies, practices, institutions, positions, and collective and regional contexts. So this will include novel computational approaches outside of the theatrical space of the cinema, DIY and low-tech methods online and in person, artistic reuse and remix practices, and much, much more. And the ninth International Conference will take place already in 2 weeks, from May 26th through May 29th. And registration is open, and I believe the program is online. So check it out. But first, today, I am so thrilled to present a screening and performance by Las Musidoras, a feminist collective made up of film archivists and researchers Émilie Cauquy, Marian Gómez Rodríguez, Elodie Tamayo, and dancer Veronica Vallecillo. Unlike past sessions, we're going to start with the screening portion, with musical accompaniment provided by I's very own Martin de Ruyter. And then I will lead the conversation with our guests, which will, as usual, be open to your questions. And the conversation will be recorded and will be made available along with the previous 5 sessions on I's YouTube channel shortly, where you can also find past editions of This is Film. So for a little more context, at the center of today's session is Musidora, a popular French stage and screen actress who's perhaps best remembered for playing the character Irma Vep in the French serial Les Vampires from 1915-1916. But for those of us working in women's film history, and especially women's contributions to early and silent cinema, Musidora's career is so much more than this one character. And it is her efforts as a director or co-director, screenwriter, and producer of 3 films made in Spain in the 1920s that is most relevant here today. Work that has become more visible in the last few decades thanks to the tireless research of feminist film historians like Annette Forster here in the Netherlands, among others, and recent archival preservation and restoration projects of surviving films in Europe and America. Now, Letera de los Toros was released came out in 1924, and so it effectively marks the end of Musidora's film career, save for appearing in one minor role in 1926 and directing and producing a short film in 1950 that's unfortunately considered lost. Basically, after 1924, she returned fully to the stage, which she had never really left. She got married, she had a child, and she took on other work, such as collecting oral history testimonies from her silent era peers for the Cinémathèque Française in the 1940s and 50s. So, as I said, like the 2 films that Musidora made and starred in right before this one, Letera de los Toros, or The Land of the Bulls, was shot in Spain and reflects Musidora's deep love affair with that country. Unlike her previous 2 films, however, she is the sole director here, and it is based on an original screenplay by Musidora. And most excitingly for us, I think, it is a non-fiction-fiction hybrid that self-reflectively and playfully weaves together comic scenes, adventure, romance, and documentary footage of bulls and bullfighting, covering many personal topics for Musidora, such as her status as a filmmaker, her star image, and her then romance with real-life bullfighter Antonio Canero. It was conceived to be part cinematic presentation with filmed images starring Musidora and Canero, and part stage show with live elements performed by Musidora. So today, Las Musidoras will playfully and evocatively reimagine the live ephemeral parts of this film exhibition for us. What you're about to see, in the words of our performers, freely reproduces an ambiance, retraces a geographical passion, and resurrects Musidora's fantastical, free-spirited presence as a filmmaker and a woman in love. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Martin van der Hulik, Isaac Marshall, Leo Sleonik, and Zoe Smit, who are students of This Is Film. And on behalf of the group, Martin and Isaac will introduce our guests.
Émilie Cauquy is responsible for the promotion of the film collection of the Cinémathèque Française. She is the project manager of the Institute's VOD streaming platform, Henri. This free platform was created during the pandemic, and it includes a large collection of rare and unseen titles from the archives of the Cinémathèque. Many titles have English subtitles and intertitles as well, so even for the non-French speakers among us, it is well worth a visit. She has been a guest programmer at the Il Cinema Ritrovato Festival in Bologna. She is also the curator of enhanced or augmented screenings, and these cine spectacles have centered on Germain Dulac, Georges Méliès, and of course, Musidora. Marian Gómez Rodríguez is a film historian. For her PhD, she examined the Spanish imagination in French film in the 1920s. In her research, she has focused on French silent cinema and the cinematographic exchanges between France and Spain. A central figure in her research has been Musidora, especially her Spanish work. She was a co-founder of Kinetraces, an association for students and researchers in film history. She currently works at the Cinémathèque Française, working on the festival Toute la Mémoire du Monde, a yearly festival showing the latest restorations presented by internationally renowned special guests.
Lecturer at the ENS in Lyon and editor at Le Cahier du Cinéma, Elodie Tamayo received their PhD at the Sorbonne Nouvelle University with research on Abel Gance. She went on to edit a book, Abel Gance and Charles Pathé, Correspondence, and she's currently an associate researcher at the Institut de Recherche sur le Cinéma et l'Audiovisuel, and she is one of the founders of the association Kinetraces for students and researchers in film history. And she participates in the ANR Cine 0819 project on the 1910 cinema in France. Having taught flamenco for 20 years in association with too many institutions to name in such a short time, Veronica Valesio invents original awareness-raising, interactive, and performative projects around contemporary creation, and she believes in teaching both the tradition of flamenco and its evolution in the modern era. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for that. That was fantastic. I have so many questions and things I want to talk about, but maybe we could start with the original film and the Musidora's intentions and performance, what we know about it. I know the screenplay survives, and what does it tell us about her kind of performance intentions?
So maybe, is it working?
Yeah.
You can hear me. Yeah, so all started with the first experimental screening an association Kinetraces did, but I will let Elodie and Marién talk about it. But we decided to work together in 2019 for Bologna. Il Cinema Ritrovato, there was a retrospective about Musidoras there, and we decided to do some special screening. And so we already did in 2018 a special screening about Germain Dulac with one of a former colleague at PNP program, Clément Lafitte. And thanks to Ele Frongen, who put me in contact with Clément, we find only 3 fragments about a lost film by Germain Dulac, only 3 minutes, and they were absolutely random to screen. But at Cinémathèque Française, we had some non-film there. And so we decided to invent a new way of present a restored and lost film. But this is another story, maybe we'll talk about it. So basically, I was in charge of the program with Marian Linsky about the Musidoras, and I had in mind this essay in 2017 about with Elodie and Marién, and also I knew that Marién was a huge specialist, one of the best specialists in France about Musidoras, and especially about this period in Spain. So actually we had the archive at Cinémathèque, we had the film at CNC, and we had an historian expert. So we were ready to invent something totally futile and totally invented and absolutely non-historical. And so, but we had some sources and some strong sources to do something, yeah, maybe special, but maybe also truthful and faithful to Musidora's spirit. So maybe Elodie and Marian, you can talk about the first essay, and also Marian, you can give a few elements about the will and aim of Musidora about writing this film.
Yeah, so yes, for the short story, we were a collective of PhD students, a collective named Kinetras, and we were working on a 2 years project about the archaeology of the séance, the dispositif, the context of showing films in the history of cinema. We were strongly motivated to investigate about this archaeology of the way cinema was shooted in history, mainly because we were in this big giant digital era where the question of argentic history was strong, and also because we were very enthusiastic to think the séance as a performative space. And so in this way, we first made a seminar concentrated about the 20s, the Warring 20s in France, which is a period, as we know, which is very important in many ways, but also in a creative way, because we know it's the period when, for example, Abel Gance is making screenings with three screens, the period where surrealist people were making happenings, and a period where hybrid shows were made. And in this context, we wanted to unveil the lost and unknown history of Musidoras, and this is why we asked Marian, as a specialist, to join this project.
Yes, because this project, this film, it was perfect for this kind of approach, because she thought about this project like a film that would be interrupted by her appearance in scene. Musidora in her life has combined all along his career and her life. She has combined theater and cinema, and for this film, she thought in her letters we can find in the first scripts. She thought about that like a total show, in the sense to make it between the theater and cinema. So it was perfect for that. And moreover, it is a film that, because of this original formula, it was very difficult to broadcast and to recuperate in the present. So it was the perfect situation to recuperate the film.
Mm-hmm. And then, Veronica, how did you become involved?
When she called me.
Maybe you can use your mic. You can use your micro.
When she called me.
No.
Funciona.
And
Funciona?
Maybe not.
Actually, I'm a Veronica student in a flamenco class. And originally, in the first screenings, I was doing a little flamenco show instead of Veronica. As you can imagine, it was less spectacular. And then
it's her fault.
Yeah, it's my fault. I convey her to bring more show in the show.
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah,
Maybe I can add something. So yes, I've bbeen asking to Elodie quite a lot. Actually, we are not artists, as you can guess, and we are more researcher, archivist. But on my own, I can draw, and on her own, Elodie can dance, and Marian can can play with lamps. And so actually, firstly, I was very pushy with Elodie, say, you can dance. Maybe you can make some marche déambulatoire, means you can walk, making some sound and flamenco sound, and then, so not easy. And then we had this show in Créteil, which is a film festival, very famous because it was one of the pioneer film festival about women cinema, about films made by women and with women, and about the question of women in cinema. And so they celebrated more than at least 50 years birthday, and they wanted to make a special show. And so they asked us to play, and so we said, okay, this is Créteil, they have a beautiful scène nationale, which means it's a kind of cinema, but also a dance place. And so we said, okay, maybe there is some level, and maybe we need somebody who can really dance. And so we asked Veronica to join the boat, and we considered like, okay, we are all non-pro, but to have a pro is something good. With, of course, the pianist. We definitely have to thank the pianist, because the pianist is making some kind of velvet carpet for it all. It doesn't stop from the fact that it is firstly a ciné-concert. It is firstly a screening. It is not a performance, it is not a show, it is not a dance performance, it is a screening, interrupted. So the pianist is crucial, but we maybe talk about the Martin role.
No, that's really interesting that it's a screening that's interrupted, and not a performance. That's very interesting. Can you talk, maybe because people might not have had a chance to read the documents, can you talk a little bit about what, the letters you were reading and the things in the first pause that you were reading?
This is the Marian part, because actually this is really historical documents. There is the script you saw at the beginning of the performance part is part of the Musidoras fund at Cinematheque. So it is the original script. We didn't invent it at all. There were some indications. And the second thing, thanks to Marian researches, we had access to a letter, some intime correspondence between Musidoras and Antonio. Maybe Marian, you can precise.
Yes, this is a fund that the family keeps now, and there are a lot, like 150 letters sent previously in the period during the shot of the film. Is this film? It's I don't know if we are gonna talk later, but it's like a work in progress. She realized it. Over 2 years, 1922 and 1923, most over 23. But she didn't live in Spain. She was like doing trips traveling between France and Spain. And when she was in Spain too, because she fell in love with the bullfighter, she knew this with bullfighter. She fell in love, and then she decided to do this film to have an alibi to come to Spain and to be with him. And then this is among a year. She comes to Spain, and she shoot as she can with the material that she found. And then this is the reason why also there is like different qualities of image in the film. And during this period when they are not together, she writes him a lot. She writes almost every day, almost 2 or 3 letter per day. So these letters are conserved by the family, and they give us all the genetic of the film, like how it has been think while they are not together. So it's interesting to read all the letters, because you understand the film or the process of make the film. They change the ideas, but we have only the letters that Musidora writes. We have not the response of Cañero, and it's interesting, but because we understand all the processes of the film thanks to the letters.
Oh wow, that's fantastic! The idea of this work in progress is really interesting, I think, because kind of how I see this whole project is is like it's unfinished in two ways. Like it's a work in progress for her that never had the exhibition history maybe that it should have had, and so you're finishing this for her, you're continuing it for her, and then also it's unfinished in the sense that your intervention is never static and it's not reproducible, and I know you think a lot about unfinished and work in progress, so I don't know if that resonates with you.
Yes. Yes, I am in my researchers quite obsessed with unfinished movies, but more collectively, we were also in this very association of PhD students and young researchers making a project called Missing Pieces about lost, unfinished, semi-finished projects. And about this specific show of Musidoras, we were very interested about one notion expressed by a professor, which I think was working here in Amsterdam, Thomas Elsesser, who thought about the concept of semi-finished content about silent films, which he thought were incomplete until the séance, the screening, was the place to complete the film. And it is spectacular with one object like this. And also, as you mentioned it, we were very interested about the ephemeral and non-static, metamorphic form of this show, our show, and 100 years before, the show of Musidoras, which was not static neither. It was adapted to each venue, and we are in this way continuating this metamorphic touch. In this way, it is. We can say unfinished because it is in progress, yes.
And it's also, I think, the spirit of feminist film history right now, which is very all about playful speculation, imagination, but also attention to archival details. I'm changing the subject very much, but I'm just curious, how much is improvised in your choreography?
How much I all.
Oh!
Improvise.
Wow.
I write tram, write, not write, but say to the pianist, no? And after, lo que Dios quiera, what goodies want, goodies want, pardon. No, está casi, tu traduis,
Oui.
Está todo improvisado. Todo improvisado, todo. Je m'inspire. I inspired by Musidora. Y lo que salga.
So it's total improvisation, and she gets inspired by Musidoras. I can say also, I can add something.
The last time, it was very different, no?
Yes. Yeah, in Créteil
very different. It depends of the musician, the pianist. It depends of me. It depends de la luna, the stars, the sun. It depends of many things.
Yeah, I can.
Depend of the plateau, the space. The space.
The
floor is different from the next time.
Yeah.
It depends of all.
There is one thing very interesting. You said to Martin, the pianist, when I look at you, you change the theme. You said that. Je te regarde et tu changes.
See, like the dialogue, no?
Yes.
Discute. When I say that, you look my eyes, and we decide at the moment what is the emotion. Okay.
Yeah, it looked like there was a romance going on, I thought.
C'était un peu la romance entre toi et lui.
Claro, sí. Romance andaluz. Mucho amor, mucho fight, mucho amor andaluz.
I think I want to open it up to the audience at this moment just to see if they have any questions about the performance, the film, anything.
I would like actually to ask if this...
Wait for the microphone, please.
I didn't really understand if actually this film was ever screened then.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes, it was. And maybe, Marian, you can tell us also what we knew about interruptions and what Musidoras did, actually, because I think we didn't talk about that.
I didn't.
Sorry.
It was very little screened. We have 1 week in Spain in February 1924. And then I found 2 representations in France, in the south, and 1 in Paris. But there are, I don't know if we haven't found them, but it's I think there are not much screenings because of 2 reasons. The first one is that she had to be there for the representation, and the other one is that the project is like a love project between the 2 of them, and they broke up at the end of 24, beginning of 25. So she doesn't show that so much. But I don't think that she sell that to any distribution or society or something. So it is very, very few representations that are reported nowadays. And voilà.
And what is she doing?
What she was doing during the interruption? There was a cartomancy.
For to know, yes, we have that from the press, some reports from the press, and the tarot, the gitane, she did some sketches, but that ones are from his, because she also made the tournée like a theater representation in Spain. So for the film, I think there are the only true faithful thing that we have found is in the letters, and she talked about the songs she sang and the dresses she wear. But yes, she talks about the sketch where she plays a gypsy, and she did like a tarot session.
Cartomancy.
Yes, and but we have not the detail. It's just the ideas that she evokes in the letters, and other things she does. But she constantly she makes the same type of spectacle from 21, so we inspire a little bit of that also.
What maybe we need to add that this is a total rupture also in the life of Musidoras. At the beginning of the 1910, she was a huge star. She was one of the pioneers, and she was a huge star, and she was a vedette from the house Gómez, which was some kind of majors, French majors, and she was Irma Vep in Les Vampires. And she was super famous. She had a lot of money also because she had some fees very important for this moment, this age. And she decided to be independent. And this is also why we are talking about her today a lot, because she decided to put an end about being directed by men, mostly, and to make her proper movies and to write her stories, to write her scripts, and to direct. So basically, she's making all. She's acting, she's writing, she's directing, and she's producing in total freedom. And this is super important. It was a total failure, but this is so nice now to talk about it, but this is total rupture. And so she's so creative. And maybe she was also inspired by this kind of creative, what we call crucible. Crucible of modernity and creativity by the surrealists, and she was an icon of the surrealists. But she was super pioneer, and also talking about, we might talk with the students of PNP there, but this is also a question about gender, of course, and she's also changing the roles, because Antonio Cañero, it is her muse. We call muso. It is totally her muse, an object to play with. And she's also the way she's wearing a pants, she's travesting herself, and she's playing with that. She was also known to be bisexual, openly and frontally, like Colette. And also she just put in this comedy, in this idiot film, it's a Spanish postcard, but she put something, maybe she put something. And also when she was talking about this movie, she always spread and put something about the right to vote, about women. She was a bit suffragette too, and she was really engaged. She never called herself a feminist, just like Colette, because it would be too dangerous at this time to call herself a feminist, but she was really a pioneer about changing rules and ideas about cinema.
Any other audience questions? Well, I know that the students have some really good ones, so I'll let them.
Hi. Could you describe a bit more about the power dynamic between the film and the performance, and how you make sure that the performance does not precede the screening? If you just said that is one of the most important things about it, so I would like to hear more about it.
Actually, when we decided, it's really a collective. Okay, I put the first ideas on papers, but it was inspired by the work of my colleagues and friends, and we were quite a lot discussing about it. And firstly, we wanted to do a magic show, because there was some kind of, we were working with a magician, but now we are more into some cartomancy part about playing with the cards. And so basically the performance is helping a bit the film. We all agree that this is not a great film, but actually it's a kind of raw elements to cook a good stuff, and so it is allowing us to do that. And so we wanted to, because you cannot perceive about the interruption and the will of Musidoras if you're not doing it, but we wanted also to just augment and to give some more power about documents, about archive documents, about what we call non-film. In France, we are calling film and non-film, which is a bit pejorative. And so we wanted to, okay, maybe we can screen in a very posh and snob way with a retro projector and using a cassette and being analog until the end of our fingers and brain and spirit. But we wanted that. We wanted to bring some papers, some materiality, and also some non-materiality, which actually I draw, but also I took some advice from a pro about he's calling himself a nombroman, a shadow specialist. So actually the main thing is, okay, you screen an image is on a screen, you explain, you make a conference, but when you decided to just change the way you screen it on a piece of cloth, you're making a ghost, you're making some atmosphere. And so we just wanted not to make a heavy conference about what she wanted to do, but to give and to bring her to life. But actually, yes, it is a really good question about balance, because we are so happy and proud to have Veronica, but we are aware that also a performance is making some cut in the film. But actually, yeah, it is good also. Silent cinema was never silent. And so the question about making noise and making atmosphere and making something coming and will just get you in mind, and you will remember, maybe it will help you to see the film again and to understand things. So this is also what we wanted, to let you freely take something what you want.
And if I can add something, what we are doing, the kind of fragile gesture, the amateur gesture we are doing, I think it is, again, something to do with the poetic of unachieved films. I mean, more specifically to bring something of the poetry of the draft, the sketches, something like this, which is in the movie and also in the way we are managing, more or less, the stage.
That's really
Artisanal, yeah. In French, we have this word artisanal, which means handcrafted, but we are more hand than craft, I guess.
I mean, you had me as a cameo. You're not. It's not a good. Any other questions from the audience at this one? No. Why? I have so many questions, but I guess as archivists and researchers, and I guess and you've had now experience, as you were saying, with the Germaine Dulac serial and the fragments. I guess, like, what is it like to become performers? And you seem drawn to this. So why? I'm so interested. It's so inspiring, I think, because academics are supposed to be serious and and serious. So it's fantastic, I think.
I think I was totally, and we were totally inspired by the best mentorship on that field is Marian Linsky. If you had the chance to meet Marian Linsky, you will understand everything, because actually she's one of the co-directors of Il Cinema Ritrovato, and also she did a PhD in Japan, so she's totally fluent in Japanese, about A Page of Madness by Kinugasa. And she's a high specialist about silent movie, but she's always she wants to invent new way of transmission and to be the most inclusive. And she's an outcast. She was a teacher at Zurich in the university. It was not her stuff at all, and she was bored, and she's not an academic. And we agreed on one thing, that we like small forms and big forms. For me, I'm not able to do a PhD. I like to be unfaithful and to get into for 9 months or 2 years into one stuff and then get to another. But yes, to perform, yeah, we all perform, I guess, when we do a conference. But the thing is, like Marian is doing a bit, that is to be an anti-conformist and to not make a conference, not make a very serious, not make a fédération, a FIAF thing, and to be maybe more close to the audience. And to make a show, to make some fun also, to make laugh, to make think people, and maybe not to be more active, I guess, in a different way. But maybe this kind of imposteur, as I'm not a doctor and I'm not a PhD, maybe I feel more comfortable about making art. But it's a question of that, making a show and making a screening. Actually, this is a screening, because also what I always say to the booth and to the people, to the tech people in charge, we won't request so much. Actually, it's not true, but but about the light. So the theater remains in total black, and we are stopping the screening, but we are not opening the light and switch on the light again. So this is also something. And actually, a silent movie, a film with no sound, it was not supposed to be screened like that, and to make a sound and to make some animation. I mean, the first hours of cinema, there was no cinema, there was some kind of fun fair, barracks in small houses, and with a lot of noise and with a lot of animation. People wouldn't be able to read what's written on the and who don't understand, maybe. So people were talking loud, and there was some bonimenteur, the kind of storyteller explaining what's going on. And so there were so many people, a pianist or a musician. So there were so many human, living people making some noise, and to make the film more close, I guess. I don't know if you want to talk about performance, you others. Parce que si je te demandais toi de la performance, est-ce que ça te plaît de jouer? Do you enjoy to play and to perform during a film? Est-ce que ça te plaît
Why not? Why not? I like the idea of the continuation, the continuation, the story, transposition the story. In the today, o sea, j'aime bien cette mise en abîme. Oui. Je sais pas comment on dit mise en abîme.
Okay, transposition, I guess, but mise en abîme, like.
Il y a une question là-bas, non? Il n'y a pas une question. Ah non.
But you prefer to dance and talk.
Hein?
Tu préfères danser que parler?
I prefer dance. It's my expression is the dance. No. I prefer dance to speak.
Mais tu avais fait déjà un spectacle autour du cinéma muet.
Yes, si.
She already made a show inspired by the history of silent films.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
a choreographer, and I created a spectacle the title is Le vrai faux film muet qui vous parle.
The true film that speaks, silent film that speaks to you.
And it was the story, a fiction I invented with a 3 screen in black, noir et blanc.
Black and white.
And black and white, and every the show was in silence. I make flamenco in silence. Todo las palmas, todo in silence. There are musicians on the 3 screen, and the other c'était the extract of the vieux film muet.
Yeah, on the 3 screens were shown silent movies.
And the performance was 45 minutes in silence. And at the moment, in one moment, you learn
That was the big sound of the show.
Oh, it sounds fantastic. I wish you could come perform that. Next year.
L'année prochaine.
Before I open it again to any last questions that the audience has, I was wondering if you'd speak a little bit about the film specifically, a little more. I mean, you've said a little bit, but because for those of us that have seen her other films shot in Spain, it does seem like it's very much in dialogue, like with Soleil Hombre, which also stars Canero, and which is very serious and about bullfighting, and but just talking about the film a little more. If there's anything you want to say
about this film, well, for me, it's, moreover, this original formula is the first time she does that with a film. The precedent films were like conventional film. In the way of the screening way, the formula of mixing theater and cinema, it's a formula that it's quite normal in Spain at this period. So I don't know if she can be inspired by this, but there the troupe, the theater troupe that are specialists in mixing film and theater. But if we can talk about this film, I think we can see what's like a Spanish trilogy in his career. There are 3 films that she does there, and then she always uses the folklore, and she's gonna take the a little bit the cliché that the French art, literature, and painter has bring from Spain to France. But it's true that in his films, and the most interesting, it's maybe in that way, La Tierra de los Toros, she proves this love for a country, but we feel that she feels very well there. She's very, very well welcomed. People loves her. Even the king, Alfonso XIII, was like a little bit very, very charmed by her, and she played for him. And then she had everything she wanted for her films. She had it there, and I think she finds a place from a renewal in his creative process, but also in his life. And when she met this torero, it's like we feel that in the film that she's very happy, it's joy and very, very, and I think this film is the most free in every way, in that sense, because the first one is Pour Don Carlos, is from 21, and it's the one that, as Émilie says, is where she does the biggest investissement where she put all the nearly all
She invested the most, all her
wins.
money. Yeah.
And then after the other ones are a little bit more with less options, moyens, and means. But well, I think we can see like a progression in his Spanish production, and the last one is it's freedom made cinema. It's like I'm gonna do what I want with my love and with something that I love, like Spain, and it's like an homage and yes, and voilà.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that in the language of the intertitles, like how in love she is with the country. If the audience has any questions at this stage or not, I will again ask one of the students.
Hi. So my question is, do you record or document your screenings, and why, if yes, no? Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question. I've been seriously recommended by our jurists at Cinematheque to deposit my notes and my intentions to what we call SACD. It's a Society for Protecting Authorship. I didn't, but I should. Actually, it's a question about credit. Also, I think you had a question about that. It's true that being part of the Cinémathèque Française team, and I program film and I talk about it, it's not easy for me to do, okay, I'm a daughter too, and I decided to invent something and to have this credit, which is absolutely paradoxal, but I should do it. Actually, about the record, so we have tons of Google Drive stuff with what we call in French conduite. It's a kind of detailed list about what we do with time code. So we would be more able in 20 or 50 years document what we did. But talking about serious captation, means recording about the show, it's very difficult. We never had the means to do it because it's total in obscurity. It's total darkness, and it's not supposed to, we give the privilege to the show and not to be. So maybe we should cheat a bit and play in front of a camera with more lights, etc. But actually, we have a few photos, and we have a lot about documentation about our aims, I guess, and our photos and the process, the creative. But the final stuff is not supposed to be in a capsule. So no, actually, we don't record it. But les Amis de Musidora, it's a society, the Friends of Musidora. They are representing the rights. It's a bunch of old guys, very sympathetic and very true and faithful to Musidora spirit, and they are dedicated. It's a bunch of retired men, and they were friends with the son of Musidora, and they really adore Musidora. And they are publishing a booklet each year, and they are super kind in a way because they allowed us a lot, and they gave us a lot. But they wanted so badly to record it, but it's very difficult, and they wanted to edit a DVD with it, but I'm not sure it would be so. I don't know.
Do you have a script, like a script?
Totally, we have a lot of text and what we should do, and some kind of post-it about what to think about it, and what to work, and what to work about it, and we should do that. And actually, the collective was not always like this, and maybe we should talk about that also, because kind of joke in Créteil, I said we found back our gender, because actually before we were called Los Musidoros in Bologna, and now we are Las Musidoras. So because we were playing with Clément Lafitte and Frédéric Tabet, but we decided because some paths and some roads are being different, and so we decided to keep going together and to welcome Veronica. And we are so glad about it.
I guess as a kind of wrap-up question, what's next for Las Musidoras?
So, Kate, we are waiting you to invite us in MoMA. It was planned. So we are waiting our ticket for New York now. Broadway is calling for us. Okay. So, no, actually we are, it's funny thing because actually it's always super fun and super pleasure to reopen the box, this box and with all the stuff inside. And okay, let's do it. And we forgot in 2 months, what it was already, and it's a pain and a pleasure, and a curse and a pleasure. But I think we will do it again and again each time we are invited. But we are not making a company, and we are not asking for residents to just improve. But maybe that's a bad thing, and maybe it will change one day. But for the moment, we are just keeping this show as it is, and we are, but we are not making some kind of step or move forward to just, ask for people to invite us.
Okay, well, so remember that for your next screening. Well, this has been a true pleasure, and I want to thank all 4 of you for performing for us and for bringing this film. So please, join me in thanking our guests.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merci, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
And also just thanks for coming for 6 sessions of This Is Film, and come back in 2025.